Biden can't win. Biden can't win. That is the only thing that I keep hearing out of Cenk's mouth. Look, there's other things that he says. Obviously, he's doing a lot of other stuff, but it is interesting hearing his approach on. I'm not sure I have this headphone in. Anyway, but it seems like here's the thing. It feels like to me there's a almost dogmatic, like religious idea to this conspiracy that Biden can't win. And here's what I think. I think Biden is very obviously a weak candidate. You look at the approval ratings, you look at most of the polling, people don't like Biden. You look at a lot of polling, Trump's not doing very well either, though. And Trump is main candidate. If this were a, if this were Trump before, if he was running against previous Trump, this current Biden with previous Trump's approval rating, Trump would have obviously won. Obviously. But things are getting worse for Trump right now, and Trump is going to be the Republican candidate. So I'm not going to be here, much like I was watching Secular Talk, Kyle Kalinske talking to Cenk. Obviously, is where I'm seeing most of this, because it's hard for me to take Cenk seriously with the whole running for president, because this is going to shock the culture or wake us up from the trance of believing that that this neoliberal agenda or whatnot, and that they have to do something more progressive. Look, obviously, here's something that I have in common, Kyle has in common, Cenk has in common, pretty much every leftist that does media has in common. We do want someone more progressive, especially than Biden, and this middle ground thing probably is losing. The idea is that it might be losing more people than it's helping. I do get the general establishment Democrat approach is just kind of mostly centrism, and then on a few key social issues, progressivism. So like and I guess you can call abortion a social issue, but when you come to abortion, LGBT rights, and anything like related to immigration, or not really immigration, but at least vocally on immigration, and some things relating to black rights, incarceration, stuff like that, police, or relation to police and whatnot. At least vocally, Democrats are on those, but on everything else, they're generally just take a moderate approach, or what may even be considered a conservative approach in some European countries. Depends on the European country. If you look at the UK, still would be considered very liberal. But all this to say is that generally that sense makes sense, because most of the progressives and the liberals, like, look, we're not going to get any of the things that we want, but we can't lose abortion and LGBT rights and whatnot. We'd like we'd like free healthcare and free college and whatnot, but can we at least get some subsidized versions of those, and some increased housing, or housing price caps if we're not going to get more subsidized low-income housing. Like, so we get some of the things that we want. So I guess we'll still vote for you, because at least we get some things instead of nothing if a Republican wins. And then the more moderate things, just like more, just where we handle economy based on what seems reasonably conservative, while not necessarily just doing tax cuts for the rich. So it's a balance that they try and push, and apparently less and less people are okay with that balance, or with the establishment rules. My thing is, I think by the time polling, no, I'm skeptical on how accurate polling is going to be, because I do think when the time comes, like, nobody liked Biden before. Well, nobody in my age group liked Biden beforehand. I do think there were some older Democrats that were like, well, we liked Obama. We at least thought he was pretty cool, and Biden was with Obama, so I guess we'll take him. I do think it's interesting if you, from what I've seen of some of the things that the Biden administration has done, aside from their support of Israel, pretty deep. I mean, the pro-labor stuff's been pretty good. The pro-union stuff, even like the vocal support and whatnot. Even the one thing I was really critical of was how he handled the train, the rail strikes. But even after the rail strikes, and after kind of pushing initiatives to get them back to work, and I'm like, okay, well, now they're not going to get any of their the things they were bargaining for. There was more work done afterwards to actually do more pro-union, like get them more rights. And maybe I can put a link up to some of the results to that afterwards, so you're not just taking my vague description for it. Look, is Biden unpopular? Yes. I don't think he's doing any work to make himself popular right now, though. I think he's running the country, and I think that's a really key difference to what Trump did, whereas he wasn't really doing much in the sake of running the country. destroying a lot of things, making a lot of split decisions, and it was just populism. Like when you're doing populism, you can talk about it, and it's going to get you popular within your base. And where Biden's not really doing populism, it's like organizing deals within the even like apparently he's doing work to try and find the best way to go about handling Israel. You're not going to get Israel to be like, hey, no, you can't do this war. It's not going to work. Israel will never go for that. And a lot of the other, a lot of the more warmongering members of the political groups are going to be like, no, they're going to do this. It's, how we handle 9/11. It wouldn't even be reasonable to say, no, don't attack this group of Middle East, of brown people. That's what we always do. But trying to at least allow humanitarian aid, which apparently has been at least some of the push from the United States government and from Biden, that's better than what we'd expect from most Western powers. The expectation is that we allow Israel to not only attack, which they were going to do anyway, or maybe I'm being too generous, which it seems like we'd normally let them do under any American administration, but we'd also let them continue to stop all humanitarian aid. If Biden can push for allowing more humanitarian aid for the Palestinian people and making it easier for them to flee, maybe create some sort of agreements for refugee camps, for not refugee camps, but for them to asylum. That's where we go, so they can seek asylum in other countries. Even though I know there's going to be upsetness because, as soon as you leave, what happens to your home? And I know there's been quotes saying we'd rather die. Not quotes. There's been sentiment being we'd rather die in your homes than never be able to come back. And that's obviously sad. But there are positive things that Biden said. Like, I wasn't a fan of Biden beforehand. I didn't even vote for Biden. I will be voting this next time for Biden, yeah, of course, assuming he's the. Obviously, assuming he's in the incumbent. There is an incumbent advantage that you also have to remember. Like, the only way that I think somebody else could win is pretty soon, or at least once we get closer, that Biden starts wholeheartedly supporting this next person. Like, I think someone else can win. I know people talk about that. I don't think Kamala has a chance. Unfortunately, I don't think with the climate of the right and the independents that it's rough to get a liberal. And then you want to get a black female liberal. I think just that's not going to happen. I think people are going to find ways to speak of her with subtle, like a little bit of dog whistling, but a little things. People are going to be more willing to accept a negative sentiment of a female, just kind of like they were with Hillary, than they would with a white man. Let's be honest. But would I vote for her against Trump? Obviously, I vote for her against every single Republican candidate that I've seen in the past or that's available, and that's with that. Like, obviously, like, even though I'm not a fan of her, I don't know enough about her to say absolutely hate her, but know enough to say that I'm not a fan. So can he win? I don't know, maybe, but let's get closer. Maybe Cenk's a little too harsh, maybe a little too aggressive. Anyway, that's all. If you like what you saw, leave a like, do subscribe, do a crime. Just kidding, don't do a crime, and I'm out.